This is the Quizlet website, so you can get to Quizlet by entering Quizlet.com in any web browser. You can also download the iOS app for your iPad. Note that some creation features are not available in the app. The app is more for consumption and practice, so if you want to create stuff, you're better off either using a computer and going to Quizlet.com or using Quizlet.com on Safari on your iPad. So those are your options. This is really nice because when you sign up for an account, you can sign up with Google. This is great for our students here at Glenbard because they already have Google accounts, so they can use the same login and password, and it's consistent. They don't have to remember yet another login and password. So here you can see I'm logged in with my Glenbard Google credentials. That's really fast and easy to do. And what Quizlet lets you do is create study tools. So I can create or join a class. So as a teacher, I can create a class. As a student, I can join a class. Or if I just wanted to fly solo as a student, I could create my own class and put all my decks in there. I can create flashcard sets just by clicking create. I can even browse to see what other people have created. So say I wanted to take a look in science and study things about acids. I can see what's already out there that's created by users to see if I want to use that to study. I'm not going to get into the details of how to create all that stuff in this video because all of that information is already here for you in Quizlet. So if you hover over your username, notice there's a help center, and in this help center there are extensive directions on how to use Quizlet. So how to create an account, how it works, how to use all of the different study tools, how to create a set and fix a set, how to do all of those things. So all that information is here for you, and I want to keep this video short. So know that if you go to your user ID up in the upper corner and just hover and then go to Help Center, all that good stuff is here for you. So now that I have some sets created and I've got my class going, I can go ahead and click on my set. These are all the different ways to study, and as you go through the Quizlet help files, you'll see what each of these features does. Obviously, you kind of know what flashcards are. You have Learn, Speller, Test, Scatter, which is a game, and so is Space Race. So you have a bunch of options in terms of how you study. Now, as a teacher, if I wanted to embed my set of flashcards into Schoology, I can do that. I would go to More Tools and choose Embed. Under the flashcards link, I can copy that embed code. So I just highlight it and copy it. And then in Schoology, I can either post it under Files and Links, and I can add a link, paste my embed code, and then add it. So here's my vocab. So now that's going to pop open for my students to go through the flashcards. I can also post it as an update. So if I wanted to do this as an update, I again click on link, paste my embed code, and attach that, hit post, and then when I click on this little play, my flashcards will show up right in Schoology. When studying the flashcards, clicking on the text will speak it.
Frumpy.
This is great for kids who may struggle with pronunciation or are better learning in an auditory way.
Passé. Out of date, out of style, so last year. Iconoclastic.
You can embed other things besides flashcards into Schoology as well. So if I click on my French animal names deck, say I want the students to spell the French word that they're hearing, I can use the speller to do that. I would grab my embed code for speller by clicking on More Tools, Embed, copy the speller embed code, go into Schoology, and I would tell my students to study these French animal names. I would click on link, paste my embed code, and then attach that link. Then I can post it. And then when my students click on this little play icon,
Une grenouille.
they can get quizzed on the spelling of these French animal names.
Un hameau. Une vache.
If you make a mistake, you'll be corrected, and then you'll be asked
Une
to
vache.
do it again. So these tools are really self-assessments for the students. They're formative. They're meant for them to practice. You can embed them right into Schoology, which is really nice. But if you want to gather maybe some more information from your students about how well they're doing, you're going to need to collect that in a different way, because this site is not going to necessarily report back percentages to you. So it's not the same thing as doing like a Schoology quiz. This is really for them to practice. But if you do want them to report back, this is a good opportunity to use a Google form. If you missed my previous video on using Google Forms, here's a quick refresher. You would log into your Glenbard Google account and go to Drive, create a form. You can pick a theme, whichever one you want. I'm going to be boring and choose gray, and then maybe just name it Quizlet Feedback. You can create one form and collect all of your Quizlet feedback in it, because it will date and timestamp every response, and you could even build a question into your form about which deck they're studying. So I would definitely click Require Glenbard High School District 87 login and automatically collect respondent's name. That way you know the student's name is going to be automatically on that feedback form, and you don't have to worry about them mistyping their name or using inconsistent names or nicknames, and you're like, who is this? So those are two checkboxes you definitely want to have done. First, I would probably ask them which deck they studied. And then you could either do multiple choice or text, and they can just type in which deck they studied. And for each question, I would definitely require the question. Then you could ask them how well they scored. So if they're doing the Learn or the Speller, you could ask them what percentage they got via Quizlet. Because that Quizlet is not going to give you that information. It really is a student self-reflection tool. But if you do want to know, you could ask them to share that information with you. Other things that you could ask them to do is sort of evaluate their progress on a metacognitive level. So how well did you study for this? How comfortable are you with the material? Those are questions that you can ask in this feedback form. And then you can send that form. And notice that you have an embed code here as well. So I can click embed, and I can copy this embed code, and then I can embed that code right into Schoology as well. So I can make that link available to my students so that they can answer that form right from within Schoology. So it's all in one place. Notice it already knows I'm logged into Google, which is awesome. And I can just go ahead and submit that form right to my teacher from within Schoology. So it's keeping them sort of all in one ecosystem, which is nice so that they're not flipping out and going to different spots. So really nice to be able to embed. And again, to do that, all you need to do is once you finish your feedback form, click Send Form, click the Embed button, copy the embed code, and then go into Schoology, and you would add a link. Now for something like a feedback form like this that you're going to use all the time, you may want to post that in materials. It would definitely be a file or link. Maybe you would throw it into a folder so that it's organized. Whatever your organizational structure is for Schoology, you definitely want to keep this within that structure, but know that it can just live there, and they can go back to that form multiple times. And then when you get feedback, you'll see your responses in a spreadsheet. So those responses will come through with a timestamp, and the information and the username and any other questions that you want them to answer will appear here in this spreadsheet, so that you can really quickly take a look at what their scores were. You can obviously sort this just like Excel. If you want to get into some conditional formatting, we talked about that in a previous video. I can help you with that so that you can kind of see, maybe you want to know which scores are 60% and lower. You can highlight those scores in a color so that it flags them for you right away. So it's a great way to collect formative feedback on your students' progress on things like vocab, common terms, basic concepts that they might be studying in Quizlet. So this was just a really quick introduction to Quizlet and to Google Forms and how you can tie them together and use them within Schoology so that you have a consistent space for your students to access their practice and also provide you feedback on that practice. Shout out to Tom Callis for bringing Quizlet back to me after I hadn't played with it for a while, and we kind of worked through together how to create decks and share them with students, and then also collect information from students on their progress. So thanks to Tom for bringing this back to us, and if you have any questions, please come and see me. Thanks so much.